Okay, here we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is a public meeting of the School Board of West Bend Joint School District Number 1. More than 24 hours prior to the meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of this meeting was posted at the entrance doors at the Education Service Center and at the West Bend Community Memorial Library. A copy was also sent to the Daily News, WIBD, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and other media sources that have requested notice of our meetings. I'd ask our superintendent to confirm that the meeting was properly posted.
It was.
Great, thank you. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. We recognize a quorum. There are 6 of us present. Tani Schmidt is going to be joining us in just a few minutes, but we will get started with our meeting. So the first item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda, and with that, I would move for approval of the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nancy. Motion and second to approve the agenda. Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, the motion carries, and we are on to the public participation portion. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board at this time? If so, please come forward. All right, looks like we have one person.
Hello, I'm Beth Kastner at 1332 Highland View Drive. I'm resident, mom of students in the past and present teacher. And not everybody was here, but I just wanted to extend my thanks to you guys for the wonderful work day that was greatly appreciated and used to the maximum. So thank you, and I feel a little bit lighter on my feet right now. And as Mrs. Dove said too, her daughters received many pings from me because we were zip-zapping all over the place today with getting caught up. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the board for public participation? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. And in the consent agenda, we have 3 sets of minutes from October 26, November 9, and November 16. We have information on safety drills and also revenues and expenditures in the aggregate, July 2019 through October of 2019. We have no contracts to ratify or resignations. I will just note one thing. The packet was updated recently with a change to the minutes of the November 16 meeting to reflect the fact that one of our members, Paul Fisher, was in attendance virtually. No other changes were made, but just wanted to reflect that. Any questions on the consent agenda? Otherwise, a motion would be in order to approve it.
Chris, one question for Andy. On the revenues and expenditures in the aggregate, is it really 2019 or should that have been titled 2020?
Thank you. I was making eye contact with you. I was hoping you were catching that when I was nodding. It is 2020 for those for this period.
Great, thank you. So this was me blindly reading off the agenda. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That is a typo on the agenda.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for the clarification. So it would be revenues and expenditures in the aggregate for July 2020 through October of 2020. Thank you for the clarification. Any other discussion, or otherwise a motion would be in order to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Joel, second by Paul to approve the consent agenda. Any final discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. The motion carries. Thank you. We are to the superintendent's report. Superintendent Wimmer.
Thanks. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I just wanted to say thank you again to our students, staff, families, and community for their collective efforts and helping us to continue to provide a range of instructional options, and for us that includes in-person instruction. Just reminders to please continue to screen for illness prior to attending school or work. Those symptoms and screening details can be found on our website under the COVID-19 tab at the top. And that information section also gives you, again, cases, what's going on in our schools, all of those pieces. So again, just encouraging everyone to err on the side of caution, whether you're a student or a staff member, to screen and monitor yourself and alert us to any absence. Especially we're really just building awareness around post Thanksgiving holiday. Just if you could screen, monitor, again, alert us to any absence, and we'll make accommodations for instruction. Today, as you noted with the thanks, was the first day of additional planning days for our staff. Again, the purpose of those days to provide our staff with the time so badly needed to plan both in-person and distance instruction for our students, and also helping us to mitigate exposure post that holiday break. So again, we will continue to diligently monitor health of students and staff. And again, everything that we're doing is in the effort for preserving our in-person instruction, which we've been very successful at thus far. Our high school team, you'll recall, is preparing for moving to a cohort model beginning this Wednesday. Just as a reminder, that will go through January 15th, which coincides with the end of our first semester. Speaking of moves, I'd like to just give a public thank you to Kim Christensen, our district library coordinator, and her team. They began the physical move for the newly remodeled high school library space today. So we had seen all the kind of construction in progress, some of the elements of furniture, and it's getting down to moving the books and kind of those last finishing touches. So we look forward to sometime in the future having a board meeting there, and we'll continue to update the website with some pictures. It's a beautiful transformed space for our students. Speaking of instructional choices, the deadline to declare any kind of change for your instructional option of virtual or in-person has passed. Instructional shifts for the upcoming semester include, looking at the numbers today, an additional 39 students to virtual, 97 returning to in-person, 25 students in grades 5 through 12 selecting a hybrid option, and well over 5,000 students holding with their current instructional option. So that was just interesting glance at the data. So again, getting out ahead of that, our semester does not transition. It ends at January 15th, as previously stated. So this helps us ready students and staff for such a transition. Our high school winter sports have started. Our high school representatives will be at our next meeting, and they will gladly provide an update. Just a reminder to our public and our families that we are live streaming many of our events. You can simply log on and feel free to cheer along for the Spartans and Suns, so check that out. It's been actually one of those kind of nice additions that's come out of this, is creating those events in an accessible manner. So a lot of families, a lot of grandmas and grandpas out of town have been able to watch and cheer for our student athletes. So thank you to our schools for those efforts. And also a thank you to our high school student council. They are going with the theme Masks On and Sleeves Up for their annual blood drive. Community members can participate on December 4th, 8th, or 9th. Our staff can also participate. Check out the district Facebook page, website for details and links to sign up. This is usually one of the biggest blood drives in the state. Clearly, it's going to be downsized this year due to the pandemic, but obviously there is still a need for blood. We will be following all mitigation efforts, et cetera. So I would encourage you to check that out on our website and sign up to participate in some form or fashion. That concludes my updates.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent? All right, hearing none, we'll move to the clerk's report and the report to the community of deadlines for filing for board candidacy or non-candidacy for spring 2021 election.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that at an election to be held in the West Bend Joint School District Number 1 on Tuesday, April 2021, the following offices are to be elected to succeed the present incumbents listed. The term of office for school board members is 3 years, beginning on Monday, April 26, 2021. The following at-large seats are to be elected to succeed the present incumbents. 2 3-year seats with an expiration date of April 2024. The current seats are held by Christopher Zwygart and Kurt Rebholz. The candidates receiving the highest number of votes will fill the 2 3-year seats. Notice is further given that a campaign registration statement and a declaration of candidacy must be filed no later than 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021, at the Education Service Center, located at 735 South Main Street, West Bend, Wisconsin, 53095. Notice is further given that if a primary is necessary, the primary will be held on Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. Paperwork for persons interested in running for the school board is available at the Education Service Center and is on the district's website. The Education Service Center will be closed Thursday and Friday, December 24th and 25th, as well as Thursday, December 31st, and Friday, January 1st.
All right, thank you very much. All right, the next item then on our agenda, we have two action items. The first action item is high school independent study in community service course revision. And I believe Mrs. Laura Jackson is going to be walking us through that. Mrs. Jackson.
Yes, we spoke about this last board meeting, and Mr. Schlass was here to talk a little bit further. We currently have a class that is an independent study in community service, and the goal is to have that have a career focus. And so last time we were together, we spoke about changing the course focus and title to reflect that, so that it will be a career, independent study and career exploration course instead, if the board approves of this change.
Any questions for Mrs. Jackson?
I just have a couple questions, just because my children actually participated in this program and they really enjoyed it. So I would hate to see us not consider something just because maybe it doesn't fall into the typical norm of a career path. For instance, obviously, if I'm looking to go into the medical profession, working in a medical office makes sense, right? But if I wanted to be a chef, and perhaps there was an opportunity for me to do some type of sous chefing at a local restaurant, I would hate to see us have our parameters so small that we wouldn't allow for different types of career study. Like my oldest daughter, for instance, was able to work with several teachers in the special ed department because that's what she's planning to do, is be a special education teacher. So I guess I would just want to make sure that there's some type of guarantee that, if a student doesn't necessarily fit the normal mold, that there's an opportunity for them to appeal and explain why this particular opportunity is the right career path for them or something. So I guess that's what I'm looking for. Is there some kind of appeal process or some kind of a, hey, can I meet with Mr. Slash or Mr. Graff to, explain my case or whatever?
Yes, the student would actually present their areas of focus to the Career Center as they're wanting to develop into this course. And the student would have investigated places where they would like to volunteer, and I'm saying volunteer, but like to explore what that career involves. So your example of a sous chef, there's a lot with that besides preparing the ingredients for the chef, right? And so to learn about those things would be really important. However, some locations and some, depending on what the child is the age of the child, you're limited in certain things that you can do. And so those parameters would have to be followed. But it's meant to be very open-ended, and as an independent study, the child can propose what it is they'd like to investigate and why.
So to follow on with Nancy's question and clarify, you use the word volunteer.
Yeah.
So back in the dark ages when I was in high school, I was involved in our co-op program. Same type of thing. Is this a volunteer only, cannot be paid type program? Or if you have an opportunity to, work in the industry as part of this continuing education, can it be a compensated position as well?
There are other avenues for a student who is currently being compensated in a position to have that apply for school credit.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? Any other questions for Mrs. Jackson? Hearing none, I would make a motion to approve changing the title of Independent Study in Community Service to Independent Study in Career Exploration. Thank you, Nancy, for the second. Motion and second to approve the changing of the course name. Any other final discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is selection of WASB delegate for January Assembly, and Superintendent Wimmer will give us some background on this item.
Sure. The Wisconsin Association of School Boards, or WASB as it's often known, takes positions on policy. So every school board has the ability to submit ideas for policy revisions or advocacy efforts they'd like to see across the state level. And then those are compiled into resolutions. They're generally published in December. They culminate with boards across the state having conversations, and a delegate is chosen from each school board to represent our school district in those meetings in January at the annual convention. So tonight, we're just seeking to confirm who might our delegate be for that work, knowing that our resolutions will come forward in December. I usually then kind of put together a 1 or 2 pager to give a summary of what are the resolutions and what impact they might have to our district for full conversation with the board. That helps inform our delegate when they go to, I would only assume is going to be a virtual event this year, so how they can represent our district during those conversations and any votes they might take for position.
Great, thank you for that. And so last year, Joel Ongert had volunteered as our delegate. And so first of all, thanks to Mr. Ongert for his service. And in discussion, indicated you'd be willing to serve again this year.
I'd like to nominate, I'll nominate myself. I enjoyed it. I'll be happy to do it unless somebody else really wants to do it, but happy to do it again.
I'll second Joel's.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for the second. All right, motion and second to appoint Joel Ongert as our delegate for WASB January Assembly. Any final discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Ongert, thank you again. Appreciate that. All right. For future agenda items, our board meeting calendar, I'll just point out that on December 8th, 2020, we have a curriculum committee meeting scheduled. We will have a regular school board meeting on December 20th, another curriculum committee meeting on January 5, and our next regular board meeting would then be January 11th of 2021. And so we have only one regular board meeting in December, right in the middle, so to speak, on the 14th. All right, items for follow-up and communication. Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you, Paul.
Second.
And Kurt, thank you. Motion and second to adjourn. Any final discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.